Imagine just having to leave your home, your job, basically everything because there's a wildfire bearing down on your town.
Yeah, it's a pretty stark image. And that's the reality for some people in Alberta right now.
Exactly. And that's what we're digging into today in this deep dive.
We're focusing on a specific, very recent fire event near Swan Hills, Alberta. We're using a news report that sort of lays out the immediate consequences.
Right. This fire, it's north of Swan Hills, burning out of control. The report says about 1,600 hectares.
Yeah, which, give you a sense of scale. Think maybe 3,000 football fields, something like that. It's significant.
And our goal here, using this report, is to understand what this one fire means right now, but also how it connects to a bigger picture the source talks about.
It really is striking how fast these things impact everything, isn't it? The environment, people's lives, work.
Absolutely. The report jumps right into the disruption for local industry. What did it say there?
Well, it specifically names Aspenleaf Energy. They had to move fast.
Move fast.
Pulled their staff out, evacuated them, and stopped operations temporarily, all because the fire was getting close.
And the report actually puts a number on that, right? Shutting in production?
Yeah, about 4,000 barrels of oil equivalent per day. That's the BOEF figure you often see.
Okay, BOEF, so that includes oil and natural gas production combined.
Exactly. And their CEO, Brian Gould, he's quoted in the report, said the fire was about, 10 kilometers away when they decided to shut down?
So not right on top of them, but close enough.
He stressed it was precautionary. A safety measure, basically.
Which makes sense. The report also mentions Canadian Natural Resources has operations nearby, too.
It does, yeah. Though, apparently they hadn't made any public comment when the article came out.
Okay, so beyond the industry side, what about the community itself? Swan Hills.
Well, that's the other major impact. The source details a mandatory evacuation order for the town.
Mandatory. So everyone has to go. How many residents are we talking about?
Around 1,200 people live in Swan Hills.
Mm-hmm.
They were told to head to Whitecourt.
Whitecourt, okay. How far is that?
About a 50-minute drive, the report says. So not terribly far, but still, you're displaced from your home.
Yeah. And the report also quickly notes another smaller fire in Yellowhead County.
Right, about 390 hectares. Also out of control. It just adds to the picture.
And what this news report really emphasizes is the timing of all this.
Exactly. These are the first significant fires of the spring season in Alberta for 2025.
So it's like, here we go again, the start of wildfire season.
And you have to remember, this is right after 2024, which the source reminds us was a really destructive year. It mentions the Jasper fire, for example.
Yeah. And this report, it really connects the dots historically. It points out that wildfires disrupting oil and gas production, well, it's happened quite a bit recently in Canada.
Oh, absolutely. This is not a new phenomenon. The source gives examples, like Suncor having to curtail production just last year, 2023, at their Firebag complex because of a fire nearby.
And May 2023 sounds like it was particularly bad.
It was. Over 100 fires across Alberta then. Companies had to shut in, the report says, at least 319,000 barrels of oil equivalent per day.
Wow, 319,000 belept. And the source puts that in context.
Yeah, it notes that was about 3.7% of Canada's entire production at the time. That's a big chunk.
And then there's the really big one the report mentions, Fort McMurray in 2016.
Right. That was devastating, destroyed parts of the town, huge impact on the community.
And the industrial impact.
Massive. Source says companies had to cut output by 1 million barrels per day. And notice that's barrels of oil per day, not the combined bulbed. Just underscores the scale of the oil sands operations affected there.
So when you look at this news report about Swan Hills through that lens, it's clearly not just one isolated incident.
Not at all. It's really the latest example of this recurring pattern. Wildfires hit, and they cause immediate, very real disruption for people, for communities, and for major parts of the economy in Alberta.
So to quickly wrap up what we've seen from this source, wildfires are this ongoing significant threat. They force people out. They stop economic activity. It happens again and again.
That's the key takeaway from the report, really.
Okay, so given this pattern, this recurrence that the source material highlights so clearly, here's something to think about. What does this persistent challenge actually mean for the future? For the resilience of communities and industries, too, especially in places that seem to be facing these wildfire risks more and more often.